I mean, they're these incredibly powerful creatures. They want to have an engaging relationship with you if you can make that connection. Some of them follow you around like dogs and are sort of like pets and things like that, but others really want to work. They really want to have a job. A lot of them are funny that way, that they need to have a job, or they get bored and they start breaking stuff. Breaking fences or injuring themselves or just generally causing trouble. It can take years, but I take a horse that was, the minute you'd walk into the paddock, they turn around and just try to kick you. And now that horse comes running to me when I come in the paddock. And you learn from every horse, because every horse is so different. The process is different. We have 5 and we're about to have another one. So we're gonna have 6 by the end of next week. This person had been keeping her 2 horses at a woman's house, and slowly the care decreased over time to where then she wasn't showing up anymore. And so the property owner took a look at the horses, and they were still wearing winter blankets in May. And when she took the blankets off, they were basically starved. Animal control reached out to me last week and asked if we could take the older horse. So he's 22 years old. He's blind in one eye. He has an injury. He's basically an old guy with, decent manners. And this is far improved from when animal control was contacted. So at least he's been getting fed for like 6 or 7 weeks. When I was like 22, I had an early 20s crisis, and this is so stupid. So I read a book, okay? I read the Horse Whisperer book. I knew nothing about horses, 0, zip. So when I read this book, I was like, oh my God, there's like this whole thing with like horses and people, and I had no idea, like not a clue. So I called a couple local barns, and the first one that called me back, I went and took a lesson. And the stars in my eyes, like, I was like, oh my God, I need to do this every single day of my life. I worked my butt off. I worked as, like a working student, worked for nothing, just to be around them, just to watch lessons, to learn. I instantly became a horse addict. And I fortunately was really good at riding. It was the first time I was good at anything, like pretty good. And I'm still learning, and that's something that I need. I need to be really active. I need to be learning.
I do feel like Amy has found her calling. She clearly has a way of communicating with the horses, and she's very fully present with the horses.
I sort of accidentally got into rescuing horses. It wasn't like my lifelong dream or goal or something like that, I got my first rescue, which a friend talked me into getting. She was like, you need to get this baby and save him. So I was like, oh, sure, why not? So I rescued this draft horse, and I started taking on some of my own personal rescues here at my training barn. So I was getting sort of sucked further and further into the rescue. So then I decided it was time to just start my own nonprofit, because it just seemed like this is the way I was going. This is the direction I was heading. And if I was going to do it, I was going to do it 100%. So I started Sumner Brook Farm a couple of years ago. When I went to create the nonprofit, it had to be a whole separate entity, because you're dealing with donations and volunteers, and there's a whole different set of rules that govern that type of operation versus a business. I just treat them all the same. It doesn't matter for me if they're on rescue side or bear paw side, but where the funding comes from, we have to raise money for the Sumner Brook horses. There's not a lot of profit involved here. So this is a total labor of love that I'm, if you want to be corny about it.
It's not about blaming people who can't take care of their horses, or making them feel guilty, or bad-mouthing the situation. She's a very positive energy about it, and it's about making it possible for people who have fallen on hard times or whose circumstances have changed for whatever reason to have a safe place for their horses to go.
Some of the rescues come off the trailer and they don't even lead. You don't even have control over them just to walk them. So sometimes I'm literally starting at the beginning with these horses that they have to learn how to walk with a person.
Come on, you can do it.
Other horses might have physical issues that are causing pain. So you have to go through the process of figuring out what's physically maybe causing the behavior.
Libby, don't do that. No tantrums.
To eliminate the negative behaviors, you have to replace it with positive behavior. And you have to do that over and over and over again until this is what the horse learns. They have to learn that the other behavior is not an option. Caleb was part of a larger neglect case in Lyme, Connecticut, where there were 19 horses and various other farm animals that were severely neglected. And a veterinarian who happened to be our veterinarian was called in to evaluate and then possibly euthanize this group of horses because the state did not have the resources at that time. She posted all of the horses on Facebook and asked for the local community to help. And within 48 hours, all of the horses had been placed. I texted her and I said, "Who's left?" And she said, "This old, ancient horse, and nobody wants him." It's like, okay, I'll come get him. So I went to go pick him up, and I took off his blanket, and yeah, I just felt sick and just about cried. He just put his head in my hands, and I was like, oh my God, this is just awful. So it was a rough first few weeks, and eventually after about a month, he got strong enough to start to be turned out outside. He can't chew hay. He has like no molars left. He's down to the gums. So he eats a diet of soaked everything. He loves it. He thinks it's great. He gained back all of his weight and probably then some. So yeah, it's almost 4 years later, and he's still hanging in there. So go Caleb. So Sadie came to us just about a year ago, actually. She was an owner surrender. The owner had purchased her. She had been a lesson horse at a barn where she was riding. She's got some physical challenges, so rehoming her wasn't really happening for the owner. The owner was diagnosed with a benign brain tumor that was impairing her ability to work full-time and still be able to afford the horse. Just the way she's built, she's got that sort of typical swayback appearance, which actually can improve if she's working, and she also can't chew hay because her teeth are just not great. She and Caleb are neighbors, and they're basically like an old married couple. They are hilarious together. They do everything together. They stand around and gum loose hay together and spit out the disgusting leftovers. They fret when the other one gets taken out, sort of like, I can't live without you kind of thing. In the spring, when Caleb's flirting with all the ladies, Sadie definitely gets jealous. But they're such a cute little couple. you have to give the horse everything to get what you want from them. You have to be, physically, mentally, emotionally willing to give whatever it takes to get them to come out of whatever they're stuck in. I do it because it needs to be done. There's a need. I'm good at it. Why not?